For centuries, people believed this place held proof of aliens, suppressed gospels, and evidence of church scandals. The truth is somehow stranger. The Vatican's secret archives contain 53 miles of shelving. They hold documents dating back to the 8th century. Only the Pope and a few cardinals have full access. The name secret comes from a mistranslation. The Latin word secretum means private, not hidden. But the name stuck, feeding conspiracy theories for generations. The archives hold papal correspondence, state papers, account books, and legal documents. There are letters from Michelangelo, Henry VIII's request for an annulment, and documents from Galileo's heresy trial. One record details the trial of the Knights Templar. Another contains the papal bull excommunicating Martin Luther. These aren't mysterious, they're historical records of church business. Until 1881, almost no one could enter. Pope Leo XIII opened limited access to scholars, but restrictions remained tight. Researchers must be verified academics with specific topics. They request documents by name. They can't browse. Documents less than 75 years old stay sealed. This means records from World War II and beyond remain locked. The Church says it's protecting privacy. Critics say it's hiding complicity. In March 2019, Pope Francis announced he'd open files from Pope Pius XII's reign. This covered 1939 to 1958, including the Holocaust. Historians had demanded access for decades. The Church insisted Pius XII helped Jews secretly. Critics called him Hitler's pope for staying silent during genocide. The documents would finally settle the debate. Researchers discovered over 16 million pages. The evidence was mixed. Pius XII knew about Nazi death camps by 1942. He received detailed reports. He chose diplomatic language over public condemnation. Some documents showed the Vatican helped hide Jews in monasteries. Others revealed the Church prioritizing its own interests over Jewish lives. One historian said he knew and he calculated. The findings didn't satisfy anyone. Defenders pointed to lives saved. Critics highlighted the lives that weren't. The smoking gun everyone expected never appeared. Instead, they found bureaucracy, caution, and moral compromise. Millions of documents remain unexamined. The archives are too vast. A scholar might spend a career on a single shelf. The Church continues to control what's released and when. In 2022, Pope Francis rebranded the archives as the Vatican Apostolic Archives. The word secret was officially dropped, but the access restrictions stayed the same. The truth about the Vatican archives isn't a conspiracy, it's a logistical reality. The records exist, they're not fake, they're just buried under centuries of paperwork, protected by bureaucracy, and released only when the Church decides the world is ready to see them.
When the president disappears during a crisis, this is where they go. Mount Weather sits in the Blue Ridge Mountains, 48 miles from Washington, D.C. It's the United States' primary backup government facility. If nuclear war breaks out, congressional leaders and the president evacuate here. The facility was built in the 1950s during the Cold War. It's designed to keep the government functioning after a catastrophic attack. The complex goes deep underground, carved into solid rock. The facility has its own water supply, power plant, sewage treatment, and crematorium. There are dormitories, a hospital, a television studio, and a radio station. The site can house several hundred people for months. There's a lake inside the mountain. It provides water and cooling for the facility's systems. The entire operation is designed to be self-sufficient. On December 1, 1974, TWA Flight 514 crashed into Mount Weather. All 92 people on board died. The crane hit the mountain in thick fog, miles off course. The crash exposed the facility's existence. Emergency responders discovered the secret base while recovering bodies. The government stayed silent. No official acknowledgement came. Investigative reports in the 1990s revealed Mount Weather's purpose. The facility serves as the primary relocation site for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA. It's where continuity of government operations would launch. During the September 11th attacks, Vice President Dick Cheney was taken to Mount Weather. Congress members were evacuated there. The facility activated for the first time since the Cold War. Mount Weather reportedly houses a duplicate government structure. Pre-selected officials are ready to assume cabinet positions if the actual officials die. These people have security clearances, but no public role until disaster strikes. The list of shadow government members is classified. The American public doesn't know who would run the country if Washington, D.C. were destroyed. The system operates in complete secrecy. Mount Weather remains active. FEMA uses it as a training center and operations hub. The underground bunker stays ready for emergency use. The facility's security is extreme. The perimeter is fenced and patrolled. Trespassing signs warn of arrest. The entrance is guarded 24/7. No tours are offered. No media access is granted. In 2017, reports confirmed Mount Weather was upgraded with new communications equipment. The facility received millions in funding to modernize its systems. The government is preparing for something, even if they won't say what. Mount Weather represents an uncomfortable truth. The government has a plan to survive a catastrophe that would kill millions of Americans. The facility exists to preserve power, not people. When the worst happens, those in charge will be safe underground, while everyone else faces the aftermath alone.
In 1940, 4 teenagers found paintings in a cave. The artwork was 17,000 years old. Within 23 years, it was nearly destroyed. The Lascaux caves sit in southwestern France. Inside are over 600 paintings of animals: horses, deer, bison, and aurochs. The artwork covers the walls and ceilings. It's some of the finest prehistoric art ever discovered. On September 12, 1940, 4 boys followed their dog into a hole. The dog had chased a rabbit. The boys widened the entrance and climbed down. Their flashlights revealed painted walls. They told their teacher. Archaeologists arrived. The paintings were authenticated quickly. The caves had been sealed for thousands of years. The artwork survived because air and light couldn't reach it. France opened Lascaux to tourists in 1948. Up to 1,200 people visited daily. The caves became a major attraction. Revenue poured in. No one considered the consequences. Human breath contains carbon dioxide and moisture. 1,200 people breathing in a sealed cave every day created a greenhouse effect. The temperature rose, humidity increased, the rock began to sweat. In 1955, green algae appeared on the walls. It grew over the paintings. Carbon dioxide from visitors fed the algae. The moisture helped it spread. The caves were being destroyed by the very people who came to see them. Scientists tried cleaning the algae. It grew back faster. They installed air conditioning and ventilation. The algae adapted. The damage accelerated. On April 20, 1963, France closed Lascaux to the public. Only 5 people per day could enter, and only for research purposes. The decision was permanent. The caves would never reopen to tourists. The closure wasn't enough. New problems emerged. White calcite deposits formed on the walls. Black mold appeared. Fungal infections spread across the paintings. Each new contamination required aggressive treatment. In 1983, France opened Lascaux II, a replica cave 200 meters from the original. Artists spent years recreating the paintings. The replica uses the same pigments and techniques as the originals. Tourists visit the fake cave. Most can't tell the difference. The replica protects the real Lascaux while preserving public access to the art. It was a compromise no one wanted, but everyone needed. The real Lascaux requires constant monitoring. Climate control runs 24/7. Scientists check for contamination weekly. Every few years, a new threat emerges. Each one requires treatment that risks damaging the paintings further. In 2001, white mold covered parts of the cave. Workers removed it manually, inch by inch. In 2007, black fungus appeared. Teams spent months treating it with biocides. The ecosystem remains unstable. The paintings show extinct animals and hunting scenes. Some images overlay others, suggesting the cave was used for ceremonies over thousands of years. The purpose remains unknown. One section depicts a man in a wounded bison. It's the only human figure in Lascaux. Interpreting it is guesswork. The artists left no written explanation. Their meaning died with them. Lascaux represents an impossible problem. The paintings survived 17,000 years in darkness. 23 years of human contact nearly destroyed them.
The cave needs complete isolation to survive, but isolation means no one can see what's being preserved. The replica allows access, but a copy isn't the original. Standing in Lascaux 2, you're seeing a recreation made in the 1980s. The real cave, the one where prehistoric humans stood and painted by firelight, is sealed. It might never be seen again. France chose preservation over access. The decision saved Lascaux, but it also means the cave exists now primarily as an idea, a famous place almost no one can visit. The paintings that survived millennia can't survive us.
In the middle of the Australian outback sits a facility that can listen to almost any electronic communication on Earth. Pine Gap is officially called the Joint Defense Facility Pine Gap. It's located 18 kilometers southwest of Alice Springs. The base has been operating since 1970. It's a partnership between Australia and the United States. The facility has enormous satellite dishes aimed at the sky. They're part of the U.S. National Reconnaissance Office's Signals Intelligence Network. Pine Gap intercepts communications, tracks missiles, and monitors nuclear tests. Pine Gap collects signals intelligence. The satellites it communicates with orbit over Asia, the Middle East, and the Pacific. They intercept phone calls, emails, and radio transmissions. The facility contributed intelligence during the Gulf War, Afghanistan, and Iraq. It tracks ballistic missile launches. It monitors drone strikes. Every major U.S. military operation since 1970 has used data from Pine Gap. The base also monitors foreign satellites and space weapons. If another country launches something into orbit, Pine Gap tracks it. The facility gives the U.S. early warning of missile attacks. About 1,000 people work at Pine Gap. Roughly 800 are Americans. They live in Alice Springs but work behind fences and security checkpoints. The work is classified. Employees sign lifetime secrecy agreements. Australian citizens need security clearance to work there. The clearance process is invasive. Applicants undergo background checks, polygraph tests, and financial reviews. Many are rejected without explanation. The Australian government doesn't fully control Pine Gap. The US runs operations. Australia provides the land and political cover. Critics say Australia surrendered sovereignty to host a foreign spy base. In 1975, Australian Prime Minister Gough Whitlam threatened to close Pine Gap. He wanted more transparency about US operations. He questioned whether Australia benefited from hosting the base. Weeks later, Whitlam was removed from office by the Governor-General in a constitutional crisis. Conspiracy theories claim the CIA orchestrated his removal to protect Pine Gap. Documents remain classified. The truth is disputed. The incident showed Pine Gap's importance. The US wouldn't allow Australia to close it. The base was too valuable to lose. In 2013, Edward Snowden leaked NSA documents. They revealed Pine Gap's role in mass surveillance. The base intercepts communications across Southeast Asia and the Pacific. The documents showed Pine Gap contributed to the NSA's PRISM program. It collected data on millions of people, including Australian citizens. The revelations sparked protests in Alice Springs. Australian officials defended Pine Gap. They said surveillance targeted foreign threats, not Australians. Privacy advocates disagreed. They argued the base violated civil liberties. In 2017, protesters tried to block the road to Pine Gap. They opposed U.S. drone strikes that used intelligence from the facility. 6 people were arrested. The trial revealed new details. Prosecutors admitted Pine Gap played a role in drone operations. Targets were identified using signals intelligence from the base. The protesters argued this made Australia complicit in extrajudicial killings. The court convicted the protesters. They received fines and suspended sentences. The judge acknowledged their motives, but said the law was clear. Trespassing near Pine Gap is a federal crime. Pine Gap's focus has shifted to China. The base monitors Chinese military communications and satellite launches. It tracks ships in the South China Sea. The facility is critical to U.S. strategy in the Indo-Pacific. China knows about Pine Gap. State media has mentioned it by name. Chinese military planners consider the base a target in any conflict. Australia's hosting of Pine Gap makes it part of U.S.-China tensions.
In 2018, construction began for new facilities at Pine Gap. Satellite images showed expanded infrastructure. The upgrades cost hundreds of millions. The Australian government approved the expansion without public consultation. The new construction suggests Pine Gap is becoming more important, not less. As space becomes militarized, the base's role in tracking satellites and space weapons grows. Workers at Pine Gap don't pay Australian taxes on their U.S. government salaries. A special agreement exempts them. American employees enjoy tax-free income while living in Australia. The arrangement benefits recruitment. Pine Gap offers high salaries and no income tax. It attracts skilled workers who might otherwise refuse a remote posting in the outback. Alice Springs has a love-hate relationship with Pine Gap. The base brings jobs and money. American employees spend in local businesses. The economic impact is significant. But many locals resent the secrecy. They don't know what happens at the base. They see Americans living in their town, working at a facility Australians can't fully access. Indigenous groups argue Pine Gap sits on land that was never ceded. They say the base was built without proper consultation. Protests continue, though they rarely make national news. Pine Gap represents Australia's alliance with the United States. The base gives America eyes and ears across the Asia-Pacific. In exchange, Australia gets intelligence sharing and protection under the U.S. security umbrella. But the cost is real. Australia hosts a facility that makes it a target. The base operates beyond Australian oversight, and in the middle of the outback, satellite dishers point at the sky, listening to the world's secrets, while most Australians don't even know it's there.
On November 14, 1963, fishermen saw something impossible, an island being born from the ocean. Surtsey emerged from underwater volcanic eruptions off Iceland's southern coast. The eruption lasted 4 years. By 1967, the island measured 1 square mile. It was completely sterile. No life, no soil, just volcanic rock. Iceland immediately banned human access. Scientists wanted to study how life colonizes empty land. Surtsey became the world's largest natural experiment. In 1965, the first plant appeared. Seeds arrived on ocean currents and bird droppings. By 1970, 10 plant species had established themselves. Mosses came first, then grasses, then flowering plants. Birds arrived next. Seagulls nested on the island in 1970. They brought more seeds in their digestive systems. Their droppings fertilized the volcanic soil. The ecosystem began building itself from nothing. Only approved scientists can visit Surtsey. They must sterilize their boots before landing. They can't bring outside food or materials. Every item is checked for seeds or organisms. In 1967, workers building a research hut accidentally introduced earthworms. The worms survived. Scientists debated removing them, but decided against it. The earthworms became part of the experiment. In 2017, scientists found a tomato plant growing on Surtsey. Tomatoes aren't native to Iceland. They don't grow wild anywhere near the island. The discovery triggered an investigation. A scientist admitted he'd defecated on the island during a 2016 visit. He'd eaten tomatoes before arriving. Seeds passed through his system and germinated. The plant was removed immediately. The incident revealed how easily humans contaminate pristine environments. One bathroom break introduced a foreign species. The tomato plant didn't belong in the experiment. It had to be destroyed. Surtsey is shrinking. Wave action erodes the coastline constantly. The island loses about 2.5 acres per year. Scientists estimate it will be gone in 100 years. Within 50 years, Surtsey went from sterile rock to functioning ecosystem. It hosts 89 plant species, multiple bird species, and various insects and fungi. The sequence of colonization follows a pattern. Mosses stabilize soil, grasses provide structure, birds bring nutrients. Each species creates conditions for the next. The ecosystem builds in layers. Scientists studying Surtsey gained insights into how volcanic islands like Hawaii and the Galapagos developed. The process happens faster than previously thought. Life doesn't wait for perfect conditions, it creates them. In 2004, puffins nested on Surtsey for the first time. The colony grew to 60 pairs by 2010. Puffins nest in burrows. Their digging aerates the soil. Their presence accelerates ecosystem development. The puffins brought marine nutrients inland. Fish scraps and droppings enriched the volcanic soil. Plants grew faster near puffin colonies. The birds were engineering the landscape. Seals began using Surtsey as a resting spot in the 1980s. They haul onto the beach, rest, and return to the ocean. Their presence introduced marine bacteria in organic matter. Dead seals decompose on the island. Their bodies feed scavenger insects and fertilize the soil. Even death contributes to the ecosystem's development. Despite the ban, people attempt to visit Surtsey. In 2019, a tourist boat brought passengers within sight of the island. Tourists took photos. The boat didn't land, but it violated the exclusion zone. Icelandic authorities fined the company. The message was clear: Surtsey is not for humans. The research is too important. The experiment must remain uncontaminated. Surtsey sits in an active volcanic zone. Another eruption could destroy the island entirely or expand it. The volcano is dormant, not dead. Geologists monitor seismic activity constantly. If Surtsey erupts again, everything scientists have learned could vanish. The ecosystem would reset. The experiment would begin again from zero. It's a reminder that geology doesn't care about science. In 2017, Iceland buried a time capsule on Surtsey. It contains information about the island's formation and early development. The capsule is marked with GPS coordinates. It's meant to be recovered after the island erodes into the sea. The capsule acknowledges what scientists know. Surtsey is temporary. The island will disappear, but the data it provides will last forever. Surtsey proved that Earth doesn't need humans to create life. It happens automatically, given time and the right conditions. The island's greatest lesson is that nature doesn't require our help, it just requires us to stay out of the way.
The Brazilian Navy banned people from this island. The reason? It has the highest concentration of venomous snakes anywhere on Earth. Snake Island sits 20 miles off Brazil's coast. It covers 110 acres. Estimates say there are between 1 and 5 snakes per square meter. Almost all of them are golden lancehead pit vipers. The golden lancehead exists nowhere else on Earth. It evolved in isolation when rising sea levels cut the island off from the mainland 11,000 years ago. Without ground prey, the snakes adapted to hunt birds. Golden lanceheads have venom 3 to 5 times more potent than their mainland relatives. The venom melts flesh around the bite. It causes kidney failure, brain hemorrhaging, and death within hours. There is no anti-venom specifically for golden lancehead bites. Victims need immediate evacuation to mainland hospitals. On the island, that evacuation is impossible. A lighthouse once operated on Snake Island. In the early 1900s, a keeper lived there with his family. According to local legend, snakes entered their home one night. The family tried to flee. They died before reaching their boat. The story may be exaggerated, but lighthouse automation happened soon after. No one has lived on the island since. Golden lanceheads sell for $10,000 to $30,000 on the black market. Collectors want them. Researchers want them. Poachers risk their lives to capture them. In 2015, Brazilian police arrested a poacher with several golden lanceheads. He'd been bitten multiple times. He survived only because he reached a hospital quickly. The Brazilian Navy allows a few scientists to visit each year. They need special permits. A doctor must accompany them. They stay for limited time periods and move carefully. Researchers study the snake's venom for medical purposes. The venom contains compounds that might treat heart disease and blood clots, but the risk makes research slow. Snake Island represents an evolutionary dead end. The golden lancehead adapted so specifically to its isolated environment that it can't survive anywhere else. The same isolation that created them is now killing them. The Brazilian government keeps people out to protect both species, humans from the snakes and snakes from humans. The island remains one of the deadliest places on Earth and one of the most fragile. This organization generates billions of dollars for North Korea's government. Its operations are illegal in almost every country on Earth. Room 39 is a secretive bureau in North Korea's Workers' Party. It was established in the late 1970s. Its purpose? Generate foreign currency for the Kim family by any means necessary. The organization's name comes from its original office location. It operates from a building in Pyongyang. Estimates say it controls between $5 billion and $15 billion in assets. Room 39 runs legitimate businesses, restaurants, hotels, and trading companies, but most of its money comes from illegal activities. They manufacture and distribute counterfeit currency, especially US $100 bills. The forgeries are nearly perfect. They produce and sell methamphetamine. North Korean meth is considered high quality. It's trafficked throughout Asia. The operation is state-run and protected by the military. They traffic illegal wildlife products, ivory, rhino horn, and endangered species. They smuggle gold, weapons, and pharmaceuticals. Every operation serves one purpose: foreign currency for the regime. In the 1990s, Room 39 ran an elaborate insurance scam. They took out policies on cargo ships, then sank the ships and claimed the losses. Insurers paid out millions before catching on. One vessel, the Chongbong, sank under suspicious circumstances in 1991. Investigators found evidence of deliberate sabotage. The ship's crew had already evacuated before it went down. North Korea collected the insurance money. Room 39's counterfeit $100 bills are called supernotes. They use the same cotton linen blend as real bills. The printing quality matches authentic US currency. Security features are replicated almost perfectly. The US Secret Service considers supernotes the most dangerous counterfeit currency in circulation. They pass through banks undetected. Even currency counting machines can't identify them. Only forensic analysis reveals the forgery. Production reportedly happens in a facility near Pyongyang. The operation uses equipment smuggled from Switzerland and Germany. Workers are highly trained. The entire process is state-sponsored. In 2003, a North Korean colonel defected. He claimed to have worked with Room 39. His testimony revealed details about the organization's structure. He described a network of shell companies and front organizations. He said Room 39 operates restaurants across Asia. The businesses appear legitimate. Profits funnel back to Pyongyang. Staff are carefully selected and monitored. Any defection risk is eliminated before it happens. The United Nations imposed strict sanctions on North Korea in 2017. Room 39's operations were specifically targeted. Banks were ordered to freeze accounts. Trading partners were cut off. The goal was to strangle the regime's cash flow. Room 39 adapted. They shifted to cryptocurrency. They launched cyber attacks targeting banks and exchanges. In 2018, North Korean hackers stole $571 million in cryptocurrency. The stolen funds likely went through Room 39's networks. Room 39 continues operating despite sanctions. The organization is too decentralized to shut down completely. Shell companies reopen under new names. Illegal operations move to different countries. The Bureau reportedly funds North Korea's nuclear program. Without Room 39's foreign currency, the regime couldn't afford weapons development. Every counterfeit bill and drug shipment helps build missiles. Room 39 proves that even an isolated, sanctioned country can generate cash through crime. The organization exists in the shadows of international finance. It exploits weaknesses in the global banking system, and it does so with the full backing of a nuclear-armed state.